Trump breaking news today. No labels must be considered a Trump vote. Despite the passion he receives from his supporters, many pollsters estimate that even in swing states, former President Donald Trump can only win 47% of the popular vote. So, the thinking goes, President Joe Biden can still eke out another re-election in a one-on-one contest, regardless of how the polls look. Nonetheless, the likelihood that this will be a race between Biden and Trump alone is quite low. There will be a greater emphasis on third-party alternatives since over 70% of voters would have preferred that neither of the two main party candidates had run again. Since No Labels has resolved to field a centrist unity ticket, a Republican running for president and a Democratic candidate for vice president, it is abundantly evident that independent candidates will be pivotal in the 2024 election. The majority of the focus has been on Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s presidential campaign so far, although his ability to appear on the ballots of most states is far from guaranteed. Although a large super PAC is endorsing his candidacy, it would be unethical for that PAC to support any effort to gain access to the ballot. That would put the burden of leading that effort on RFK Jr.'s campaign, which many see as lacking the organization necessary to pull it off. The Libertarian Party candidate, who is eligible to run in every state's election, has not been able to reach an agreement to run at this time. If the rumors about RFK Jr.'s running mate, Nicole Shanahan, the ex-wife of Sergey Brin, co-founder of Google, are accurate, then he won't have to worry about getting on state ballots for fundraising. Shanahan allegedly paid for RFK Jr.'s Super Bowl commercial. With the group's decision to move forward, the No Labels Unity Ticket initiative will get a lot more attention. Some key members of the No Labels project now fear it will only promote Trump's re-election, and the fact that both Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat West Virginia, and Larry Hogan, the former Republican governor of Maryland, have declined to be part of the ticket gives that impression. Despite claims that they would be far along by now, No Labels is just a presidential ballot line in approximately 14 states, according to some observers. This is evidence that the movement is stalling. No Labels has managed to secure ballot access in just 2 states, Nevada and Arizona, out of the 6 crucial swing states that will most likely determine the outcome of the next election. No Labels must announce its candidate slate before submitting the necessary number of petition signatures in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Michigan, according to the laws of those states. This is true regardless of whether No Labels is seeking to establish itself as a new party or just to secure access for its candidate. At that point, the gang will be able to access many more crucial state votes, which it intends to accomplish sometime in the next month. In order to become a recognized political party in such states, you just need to collect 5,000 to 10,000 signatures. In fact, some of those states have even lower requirements for independent candidates seeking ballot access. It should not be too difficult to collect the necessary number of signatures on the petition, given how well-funded and coordinated the effort seems to be. It would appear that the Cornel West movement lacks the necessary organization and funding to propel a ballot access initiative on a national scale. The creation of a new political party by Cornel West, targeted at a small number of states with relatively modest petition signature requirements, does appear to be within the realm of possibility. Nevertheless, the Green Party, similar to the Libertarian Party that has been present on ballots nationwide in the past, will most likely back a candidate. Jill Stein is once again running under that banner. This may seem like a sideshow compared to the main event, Biden versus Trump, but when these third-party initiatives come to fruition and people see them as genuine alternatives to the unpopular candidates from the major parties, they will end up being the deciding factor in the election. Tell me why I'm saying that. Surely you are familiar with Jo Jorgensen. I take it you're unfamiliar with Joe. Are you unaware of his identity? Joe is actually a woman. In 2020, Joe ran for president as the Libertarian Party's nominee and finished third in the race, behind only Biden and Trump. The margin of victory that Biden had over Trump was greater than or equal to the votes that Hillary received in 4 of the 6 critical swing states. Why am I even mentioning that? The margin of victory in the important swing states will be incredibly small. Last time it was 20,000 votes in Wisconsin, because one thing is certain, regardless of what happens in this election. In that state, Jo Jorgensen garnered about 40,000 votes. If RFK Jr. were to receive that ballot line, he would be joining a libertarian candidate who is unsure whether he would be more drawn to Trump or Biden. On the other hand, it's crystal evident that Biden loses more support to a moderate Republican/Democratic unity ticket with Cornel West and Jill Stein than to Trump. The Biden candidacy faces a huge threat if an unknown third-party candidate named Jo Jorgensen can garner enough votes to cover the gap of victory in 4 of the 6 swing states. This is because more well-known and financially supported candidates are likely to receive significantly larger percentages of the vote. Everyone now agrees that Hillary Clinton would have won the 2016 presidential election if independent candidates had secured even 5% of the vote in crucial swing states. Biden has 2 possible routes to the president thanks to the swing states, according to the Electoral College math. To be successful, he needs to secure victories in Georgia and Michigan, or in Pennsylvania. Whether he prevails in Pennsylvania or the Georgia/Michigan combination, he has the chance to win other swing states that might propel him to victory. The prospects for Michigan and Georgia are lower than they were in 2020, and Biden barely edged out his home state of Pennsylvania by 1% in his previous run. That should have been enough to convince you that the president frequently visits Philadelphia. Ironically, the people who think they must defeat Trump are the ones who represent the most threat to his re-election. An example of this is the nearly unknown Jo Jorgensen candidacy. Stein, West, and No Labels may not all receive ballot access in the 6 battleground states, but it is quite probable that at least 1 or 2 of them will. That's all it takes to propel Biden to defeat. Except in the very improbable event that these third-party candidacies decide, in the interest of the nation, not to run, there is only one way to fight this immense danger. In other words, there has to be an early and loud, well-funded campaign to dissuade people from voting for third parties, since doing so would mean supporting Donald Trump and installing an anti-democratic leader. The repugnant Trump's stance against assistance for Ukraine is just the latest example of how he is using his influence in the U.S. House of Representatives to undermine democracy across the globe. Any prospective candidate that No Labels aspires to nominate would be completely insane to accept that nomination. A vote for No Labels is a vote for Trump, to emphasize and define this endeavor very explicitly. Orbit Gaming and Entertainment's executive chairman, Newsweek's editor-at-large, CNBC's founder, and a commentator on CNBC are all Tom Rogers. In addition to founding MSNBC, he was the CEO of TiVo and is a member of Keep Our Republic, an organization that fights to preserve democracy in the United States. The American Bar Association's Task Force on Democracy counts him as a member as well.